Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. So Mario Barrios retains his WBC welterweight title with a split draw against Abel Ramos. Terrific fight, grueling, tough, knockdowns, cuts, swellings, It was one of those sort of dour fights, not explosively exciting, but you just didn't know who was going to win. And both guys shipping some heavy punishment. Ramos is the WBC champ because he was elevated from interim champ, and this is after the belts went up in the air because Bud Crawford moved to 154, and Barrios, he's got 2 defeats on his record. He's 29 wins now with 18 KOs, 2 defeats, 1 by stoppage. That was to Tank Davis, and now he's got this draw. Abel Ramos. Probably a less flattering record, 28 wins with 22 KOs, 6 defeats, 1 by stoppage, and now he's got 3 draws. And he was kind of brought in, he's 33 now, Ramos. He was brought in as not a soft first defence, but a very beatable fighter. He's lost a 10-round decision to Ivan Baranchek. I mean, a couple of fights ago, Cody Crowley, who's undefeated. He undefeated at the time. He beat him. He beat him on a majority, not a split. Majority decision. But he's got some, decent wins as well. Ramos. He stopped Omar Figueroa Jr. That one a bad win in 2021. Stopped him in 6 rounds. He lost a split decision to Yordenis Ugas. So could he beat Barrios? Most people thought no. Barrios has come back well. He lost back-to-back fights with Keith. Well, he got stopped by Gervonta Davis in 11 rounds, so no shame there. And then he lost a unanimous decision to Keith Thurman. That was in 21-22. But in 23, he began his comeback. He actually fought Yordenis Ugas also and beat him over 12. That was for the interim belt, and like I say, he got elevated to the full fat champ and was expected to beat Ramos. And to start with, you could see why. I mean, he's 4 years younger than Ramos at 29. He looks bigger, Barrios, broader in the shoulders. Both of them they had similar styles. They were kind of more or less stand up with a slight crouch from the shoulders. Both kind of flat-footed. I suppose you'd say flat-footed for the most part. Maybe that's a little unkind. Maybe that's the wrong phrase to use. But they like to plant their feet, and they're both come-forward guys. I'd say that Barrios, to start with, looked just sharper, and he looked very, very confident, and seemed to have clearly had more power. That's what you're thinking early on. In the first round, he landed a right hand, but both orthodox, by the way. Landed a backhand, which almost sat Ramos down. Ramos's knees were sort of unhinged, and he almost sat down, but didn't quite touch down. It wasn't a knockdown as far as I was concerned. Then in the second round, Barrios did the same thing, landed a backhand, right hand, almost like a right cross, and down goes Ramos. And it's a good knockdown, but Ramos is not badly hurt. He gets up, and Barrios was kind of lulled into a feeling of, hey, I'm dominating this. It's all good. And then the 6th round, things they were stood on their head. They took a turn for the worse for Mario Barrios. Because Ramos, who had been, hunting him down, trying to find the range, trying to look for the little cracks in the wall, and suddenly he zipped over, a backhand right, which landed bang on Barrios' jaw. The bones left his body, as they say. He went all floppy to the side. Another bang on the jaw from Ramos, and down goes Barrios on all fours. Out of the blue, really, more or less. And even though he dominated the first half of the fight, he was battered from pillar to post for the rest of the sixth round. The first 5 rounds, no problem. Barrios he won most of them. Ramos suddenly had seen his opportunity. And in the second half of the fight, it became a grueling war of attrition for Mario Barrios because Ramos was on a mission. That's not to say Barrios didn't win a couple of rounds in the second half of the fight. I think he definitely did, and there were some swing rounds in this fight as well. Very, very, very close rounds. But Ramos was stalking. Probably looking a little bit too much for the power punch again. There was some good body work from both men. Good left hooks to the body and the odd right, but not enough of them. And there was some nice variety of punches as well. You know, there were some hooks in there. There was some, for example, the second round knockdown, Barrios landed I think he opened up the guard with a left hook and then zipped the right over. And that was a nice little move by Barrios. But in the second half of the fight, Ramos was the guy in the ascendancy. Now, that's not to say that he weren't taking punishment, because he was. Barrios' face by about the 10th round, he had a cut. He had swellings on his face. His nose looked broken to me. It was profusely dripping blood. Ramos, for the same token, bloody nose, cut, left eye, was it? I think it was the left eye. These guys were shipping punishment. But like I say, this was a dour, grueling fight, not an explosive fight. But if you know what you're looking at, you'd have enjoyed this fight. You know, if you're just someone who likes explosiveness and people, you know, no defense or anything like that, just no boxing skills, just a slugfest, then this wasn't for you. But if you appreciate boxing, or should I say box fighting, and two guys trying to outthink each other with skill, but at the same time not neglecting defense, although they didn't neglect their defense. The other guy was so good that they were opening up the defenses, if you know what I mean. It wasn't a case of just, I'm just going to fight on my face. Neither of them was really doing that. It's just that they both had good skills and were able to cut through the opponent's defense and just inflict punishment. And at the end of the fight, I had no idea who'd won. My scorecard was, I think I had it 114, 112 for Barrios, but I think one guy had it 114, 112 for Ramos, I think. It was that type of fight. And a draw, I've got no objection to a draw, not really. I think a draw was probably a fair result, but a very, very good fight. This was on the undercard of the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul circus, and was a proper world title fight. What does this tell us about Barrios as a champion? It says that he's a good fighter, very good fighter, not elite. Is he there to be taken? Or put it this way, Boots Ennis got a lot of flack for struggling against Chikadze and Karen Chikadze in that rematch. And he did struggle. But I'd pick him to knock out Barrios and Ramos. They'd give him a fight. They're both good fighters. They're both, BB plus level fighters, but they're not going to the A minus, AA plus level, which Boots has probably touched upon, and you get the feeling, being a younger man as well, Boots is only 27. No, in a unification, I definitely think Boots would beat Barrios. But Barrios has got his belt. He's in the record books. Very unfortunate for Ramos. He lost 2 of his last 3, so he was meant to lose this fight. He lost 3 of his last 5, I think, 3 of his last 6 now that the draw's in there. But this was his big chance at 33 to pick up a world title. He couldn't quite get over the line. It's nothing to be ashamed of. This was a very, very tough fight. And he showed a lot in there. Showed a lot of heart, a lot of guts, Rematch? Yeah, why not? It should be a rematch. It's a draw. It's unfinished business. Who would win the rematch? That makes it appealing, because I just can't tell you. Anyway, let me know what you thought about this fight. If you saw it, comments below. Please, if you enjoyed this video and you could hit the like button, that would be great. And also, if you're new to the channel, you could subscribe. Thank you very much, because you're helping the channel out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, more to come. Bye for now.